PLMS implementation plan. Okay, um, just to backtrack a little, we know that flexible learning is not necessarily technology oriented. It was clarified by no less than our Commission on Higher Education Chair, De Vera, clarified that should not be limited to online classes, should not be limited to online classes or activities. And among other activities, when we talk about flexible learning, take-home exercises and educational packets. Take note of that too. Take-home exercises and educational packets. I know some schools, they call it, especially in the basic education, and I know some of the schools, even in the tertiary also, they are the so-called quote unquote modular learning, or technically this is called the print-based distance education, and this is the print-based flexible learning. Okay, I am also assuming that all of us are familiar with the CMO on flexible learning, because in the commission in that CMO, the CMO listed the different modality and the different integration level as to how flexible our technology enhanced flexible learning. Flexible learning, according to De Vera again, uses digital and non-digital technology and does not necessarily require connectivity. Our project, our training PLMS will attack on those two slides. The first one is on take-home exercises and educational packets, digital and not necessarily require connectivity. Again, take-home exercises, educational packets, digital and not necessarily require connectivity. Okay. Educational packets include or such as reading resources in PDF, in PowerPoint, in ebook format. I know a friend of mine, he is enrolled in a bachelor, I mean a certificate on education, because he finds that education now is really needed. He enrolled in a college or in a school where they do educational packets, and they send this, or they have to go to the school, or the school prepared actually like a kiosk, and then they leave all the files, and then the student will just get all the files via that computer kiosk, reading resources in PowerPoint, in PPT, in ebook format, similar to modular, no? Modular, those are educational packets. Teachers, students have access to a computer. So in this training, PLMS, if you don't have the computer, if you don't have access rather, because you do not necessarily own a computer to access a computer, but you should have an access to computer. And this computer that we are referring to is laptop or a desktop running in Windows OS. Our I think a participant was withdrawing from the training because he told us how come that we did not indicate in the invitation that PLMS is not for iOS. We did not indicate that because we don't want to be, because there are ways, even if you are an iOS, or if your product or if your computer is in Apple, there is a way to have it, like the one mentioned by Sir Larry. But if we are not comfortable doing that process, that would be fine. But again, the PLMS is runnable or can run only on laptop or desktop, or any tablet or any gadget that the operating system is Windows. In PLMS also, teachers or students need not to have the internet connectivity because, again, as mentioned by our facilitators, PLMS can run without the internet connectivity. Thus, also, PLMS can cater what the Commission on Higher Education is promoting, can do take-home exercises, can be assignments that require text or files, an assessment in objective types, and even essay. And that's basically our alternative platform for flexible learning. I highlighted alternative platform because I think your university, some of you here, as I was browsing also your profile, some of you here, you have your own web-based version of learning management system like our Soul. May it be Moodle. Some of you are in Moodle and some of you are non-Moodle provided by your own respective providers. For those schools who have Moodle-based learning management system, Moodle web-based learning management system, this is a plus factor to you. There's no so much thing to prepare because you can do your Moodle, your web-based rather, your web-based application, your web-based Moodle, and then that can be integrated with your PLMS. Because obviously, anything that or your backup in the PLMS. Remember yesterday you were trained on how to back up. I mean, with Mamaila, your backup can actually be imported to your web-based Moodle. Okay, so that's the one. Next. So what is PLMS? Okay. So what is PLMS? I think Sir Larry, right? Sir Larry mentioned about the that PLMS is portable. Why it is portable? It is portable because it is transferable. Okay, transferable in the sense that from one PC to another PC or from one gadget to another gadget. Transferable because you can do backup and you can do import also. Okay, so multiple environments and manageable to a variety of infrastructure specification using any USB flash drive. Now actually, if the problem of your local host problem, if only you are using directly from the USB flash drive, um it's not really a problem because it is not coming from your C. So and then portable because the PLMS is not dependent to your desktop or to your laptop. The capacity of your PLMS is basically dependent to your flash drive. So if you will ask what's the limit of PLMS, technically speaking, there is no limit. There is no limit because it is dependent to the flash drive that you are using. Downloadable again runs in OS and capacity is dependent on the device. Let's try to look at learning of the PLMS. It is Moodle based and based on or it organizes classroom information and learning activities even without internet connectivity. There were questions yesterday like what if or how to set up my class in such a way that students cannot cheat or students will not modify their desktop settings, clock settings, and so on and so forth. You were taught also about restrictions and completions. Our suggestions is really do on a self-paced learning. After all, flexible learning is highly self-paced. Highly self-paced because again, flexible. It is designed especially for limited internet connectivity. It is designed for highly asynchronous. Highly asynchronous must be attached with self-paced learning. Asynchronous, this is offline, and this what you can do in your PLMS is you can declare or you can develop unlimited classrooms, unlimited students to enroll in your PLMS, and unlimited teachers. You can also do topical, or you can also implement or do your sections in weekly courses. And technically speaking, also, the PLMS, just like any ordinary Moodle-based learning management system, is applicable to any courses. Why I said applicable to any courses? Because even though our facilitators were training you on all aspects of PLMS virtually, it doesn't mean that you will apply them all. Dahil or because not all features in PLMS is applicable to all courses or to all kind of subject. It's still dependent, especially on the learning outcomes of the subject. Okay, so management, in terms of management, it is designed using pedagogical principles to help teachers develop innovative teaching and learning communities. Teachers need to set up the virtual classroom, just like in any face-to-face, we prepare our lesson plan. Teachers can upload reading packets like PowerPoint, PDF, reading notes, and videos. And teachers can set up assessment, objective type in particular, essay, activities also that require file uploading. Now, let me proceed to the question on how to implement. And there are many different ways or different integration component. The first one is levels, modes, distribution, and terminal. Let us discuss this one by one. Again, in the next few slides, these are just based on our experiment, on our research when we have this research way back in 2015. And this is what we found out based on the classroom setting and based on technology or based on educational technology integration in a face-to-face setup. Yes, Sir Danao. Immediately after our session, it will be visible in our learning management system. Let's start first with levels. The first level that you can implement is the so-called resource management. We experimented because we experimented during that time. There was a group, we had a class, there was a group of class that they use PLMS just simply as an educational packet, meaning as a reading material repository of files such as file, PDF, doc, XLS, and other form or types of resources, even videos. Uh, if you are familiar with I forgot it's the video yung the group that we experimented is it's like uh a file of YouTube being saved in the folder, and students can access and watch it via that flash drive because they don't need to go to YouTube. What the teacher was doing at that time is download all those YouTube files, YouTube videos, put into the PLMS, and it serves as a reading packet of the student. You can implement that way. Another that we can think of or based on our experiment is on activity management. The PLMS can be used as a resource repository and as a portal for classroom activities such as assessment, formative assessments like take-home exercises. Take-home exercises. That means it should not be real time. It should not be synchronous type of exercises. It should be a synchronous type of exercise. As promoted or advocated by the commission, they call it as take-home exercises. The third one is both. We can use PLMS as a resource management and at the same time the activity management. And this is the ideal level of integration using the portable learning management system. So if I am teaching Filipino 1, all my contents, all my materials, all my activities are translated into a synchronous format so that students can take that at home, not necessarily online and in the school or on campus. That is meant by both resource management and activity management. Kung baga, all the features in PLMS are being utilized in one virtual classroom. Let's proceed to mode. Mode basically refers to frequency, frequency of the integration. Example, specific. It refers to, for specific mode, example to this is the teacher prepares and distribute PLMS in a particular purpose. For example, conducting exams, practice testing for board review, reading purposes, or any other precise purpose. The teacher collects PLMS at a specified date and reviews students' PLMS for grading or monitoring purposes. Lumabas kasi itong mode na ito kasi the group of teachers that we experimented was teaching something like a board course and then ginagamit si PLMS as a review material. Doon nagtitake ng ang tawag niyon, yung parang simulation test, review test yung mga estudyante, which is also helpful for the students instead of the face-to-face one. Okay? And then periodic also. Periodic means the teacher prepares and distributes PLMS in terms of um, a particular schedule. So for example, during prelim, during midterm, during pre-final, during final period, which I will relate this later on in terms of the distribution. So the teacher collects PLMS at the end of each period and reviews students' PLMS for grading purposes. For example, yung experiment was the teacher prepares at the first by grading. They have actually 5 periods. So first grading, si teacher nag-prepare. So first grading lahat. Nilagay full siya, both. Nilagay lahat ng resources at the same time yung mga activities only for the prelim period. Tapos, kinuha ni estudyante, binalik ni estudyante to the teacher at the end of the prelim period. Nag-check si teacher, nag-feedback, and then immediately after that, binigay na naman yung PLMS with the midterm period. Then, bumalik si student, midterm was checked, and then binigay yung pre-final. So that's the kind of cycle, periodic. And of course, yung third mode is the full. That means the teacher prepares and distributes PLMS in a full mode of integration. So for example, teacher prepares PLMS from day 1 up to day X of his or her classes. Then the teacher collects PLMS at the end of each period, prepare the midterm, prelim, final, or at the end of the final period and review students' PLMS for grading purposes. The only hindrance to full is we have to incorporate. That is why we suggested that you can actually prepare from day 1 to day X, but collection could be periodic, prelim, midterm, pre-final, final. Why? Because of the feedbacking and the assessment is becoming absent if you will not collect that in periodic manner. Okay? So again, specific, periodic, full, while for the levels is resource management, activity management, and both. Let's proceed to the third. I think this is the most, this is the highlight on how really to distribute and collect. And in this time, there are limitations in any kind of technology, and it is limited again on its capacity of the no internet connectivity. The first one is we call this as teacher to student and vice versa type of distribution. So what is this? Let's try to zoom in so that we can look at the distribution. So for example, teacher 1 has a PLMS instance, is creating, let's say for example, teacher 1 is Filipino 1. Teacher 2 is English 1. Teacher 3 is computer programming 1. And teacher 4 is computer programming 2 and computer programming 3. That could be a possible case scenario. Teacher 1, teacher 2, teacher 3, and teacher 4. Okay, that could be a possible combination. And then it could be distributed in three forms. It could be in personal, meaning teacher will give the instance to the student, assuming if the class has 40 students. It could be personal, meaning personal. This is only applicable for those students who are into limited face-to-face, especially in the allied health sciences. Allowed ito. Very applicable ito sa kanila para yung assessment and some reading are brought into the PLMS or inside the PLMS. It could be distributed also via a local area network or via a computer kiosk. Yung experiment namin is the school, again, before COVID yun, yung experiment namin is, dahil yung schools walang computer lab, wala talagang computer lab yung students, yung schools at that time. Naglagay lang ng computer sa campus, tapos doon kukunin the students will get, oh, ang hirap mag-Tagalog, Ma'am Janice. Do the PLMS the PLMS will be will be downloaded from the computer kiosk, and then the students will also save it or submit it to that computer kiosk. There was also a school, yung ginawa is the teacher will just put it on into their local area network, the instance, the VC, no, the instance will just put it into their local area network, and the students has access to their network where they can also get it from any computer on campus or on site. The other option is if the student has internet connectivity at least once according to your mode of distribution, then you can put your PLMS on cloud, and then the students will download it from the cloud. If you have students, we also give you options. Pwede din ang gagawin is like this: one flash drive with multiple PLMS instances. So pwede talagang gagawin yan, which is this is the one that we promote or that we wanted you to do. One flash drive, but i-save kaagad all the instances, no, all the folders into the one flash drive. But there is a little bit technical. I think this is gonna be part of our future consultation because there is a way so that the students will have or will not encounter any problem of local host when there are 5 instances are saved into one location or flash drive. And para walang hassle, pwede din gagawin, which is very impractical, multiple flash drive. So ang gagawin, ma'am, here is my USB flash drive, save the PLMS, and then you work for it. And then distribute na naman to the students. That's that's one option that we can do. Paano naman siya, sir, if that is our distribution method, how can we collect, no? How can we collect? So again, I'm talking here for one level, for one subject in particular with 40 students, okay? So how to collect those data or resources or assessment or activities that are already performed by the student? So the 40 students is again either will meet you personally or the students will save the instance in the LAN or on kiosk, no? I remember pala, I also remember one of our group experiment is instead of going to the campus, ang ginawa ni teacher ng school rather, they rented a internet cafe, and then all their instances are saved into the internet cafe, and students will get the PLMS, and doon din isa-submit ni students in the to the internet cafe. So that was again before COVID, but ngayon pa hindi pa siya pwede. No, but we also had an experiment where they connected their barangay, then the student will just approach to the barangay hall and just save all those PLMS instances from the computer in the barangay. We tried to experiment that now in the COVID. We actually donated computers to some schools para we can assist them, and it's getting okay naman. Yun nga lang, yung issue namin is the students will fall in line na naman kasi nga dalawang computer lang yung na-donate and ganun. But practically, pwede talaga siyang i-coordinate with the barangay kung saan situated. Yun nga lang, we have to profile, of course, the location of our student. Okay? So then the teacher checks 40 VCs, no? Teacher 2 will also check 40 VCs. And then ang gagawin, we cannot actually automate, assuming you are using activities there, we cannot actually automate for the moment. Baka one of you there can also help improve the community. You can tell us, we can work together para ma-automate natin na lahat ng different instances or different VCs of the student coming from the different or 40 students can be extracted into one and put it into one grading sheet. Kasi as of the moment, teacher extracts scores from the 40 students and then transfer it manually to your grading system or to your grade sheet. In other words, if this is my if this is a VC of one student, all I have to do is if this is the flash drive of my student one, I have to open this, check all the file, go to gradebook and download or get the score manually, tally it to my spreadsheet. Ganun yung limitation as of the moment. Okay? Later on, we will have a forum. The second one is teacher to organizer. We call this organizer. Teacher to organizer to student and vice versa. Meaning for the distribution, the student will interface to the organizer. Tao ito. This is a person who will organize the VC into one PLMS instance para i-connect lang, para makita lang ni estudyante is isang PLMS na merong 5 virtual classroom. Let's try to zoom this in so that you can see. For example, we will be using the same case scenarios. Teacher 1, Teacher 2, Teacher 3, Teacher 4. Pwede na si Teacher 4, the teacher 4 has two instances or two virtual classrooms. Ang gagawin is si teacher, all the teacher will do the backup. The teacher will do the backup and will give that and submit that to your organizing team, or submit that perhaps like at Siliman we have an office of Soul, or maybe you have an office for digital teaching and learning. Tapos sila na yung mag-import all the VCs into one PLMS instance, para si estudyante na ang makikita ni estudyante is only the one PLMS having the 5 VCs, which is more organized than the first one. Ang kailangan lang actually is invest really more of the people who will do all the organization of the VC. No? Organization of the VC, so that all the VCs will be placed into one PLMS instance. Okay. And then the same is true that can be done via personal, that can be done or face to face, especially for limited face to face students, can be do in or can be distributed via the LAN, computer kiosk on campus, or perhaps talk to again the one in my example, to the barangay, and then even to the cloud. And then the students will get only one PLMS instance with all the VCs inside. That's the other distribution. And how to collect that is the same. From the 40 students, the 40 will submit the PLMS instance with 5 VCs. Again, the challenge is if we will go for the cloud, it needs super fast, or the other option is make sure that your PLMS is very light. No, make sure that your PLMS is very light, and then maybe you can make a policy that in every VC there should be like this micro learning. No, Sir Larry keeps on mentioning about micro learning because that is very helpful, especially for low internet connectivity. And then the organizer back up it again, and then put it and give all the individual VC, give the backup. Okay, the organizer back up from one PLMS instance with the 5 VCs, and then back it up, and then the backup file will be given to the respective teacher 1, teacher 2, teacher 3, teacher 4. Then, ang gagawin, restore each backup individually para makikita doon or makikita mo ang exercises and activities to the students. Then, will restore individually from your VCs, perhaps, no, from your VCs, and then check and then collect the scores and put it manually into your spreadsheets. Okay, so that's the collection. I'm reading your questions, Sir Cook. Later we will discuss this. And then for D3 or distribution 3 is hybrid. So you can either choose whether, especially for the limited face-to-face students in the Allied, where they can come to the campus, and since for sure you have your computer laboratory, they can save their file there, they can get the file there, and then they can also return the PLMS instance to your laboratory. That's for hybrid, and you can think for more distribution method. The last one is on terminal. The question yesterday about most of our students do not have desktop or do not have laptop. Okay, um let's not let's not let's always find hope. Let's always find hope and opportunity, let's be creative, let's try to make ways so that we can still offer the kind of quality education that we want to offer to our students even at this pandemic time. The first one is we call that as everywhere. Okay, so teachers, students can work and manage his or her PLMS to any computer like home, kiosk, cafe, or laboratory. And in this integration, students need to save PLMS into the desktop or laptop. So again, because we are on the pandemic, it may not be advisable to have it on a cafe or into other other locations, because especially if they are below 18 years 18 years old, they are not allowed to go out. But for the modified quarantine levels, I think some can go out also. As I'd mentioned again, in this integration, students need to save PLMS into the desktop or laptop. The second is limited. PLMS is installed in a controlled computer station. We experimented this like a computer laboratory or kiosk. This one, bakit ito ginagawa? Kasi nga si students walang computer or walang desktop or wala silang own laptop. So, ang ginawa ng schools at that time, they put up or their computer laboratory are converted into as an open lab where students can perform their activities, read the resources there in that computer lab, and they have to have the copy of their PLMS instance on their USB flash drive. I mean, not necessary to have their USB flash drive because all PLMS instance are placed on a computer laboratory. Again, this one also is applicable, especially for the limited face-to-face student. And of course, the mixed one, everywhere, limited, based on levels and mode of integration. So far, we have tried this, as I'd mentioned, in Region 7, and then we roam around the Visayas region also to implement PLMS, and we were able to get some testimony also for those who implemented the PLMS. But again, that was during pre-COVID time, and we are excited to learn with you, and maybe you can give also your testimonies on how to or the integration of PLMS, especially in this time of pandemic. But I am positive that we are turning into, or we are shifting, we are actually preparing. I am a technical committee actually of the Commission Higher Education for technical education, and there are talks and there are discussions on the different courses and the different degree programs that will be added to the allied sciences in terms of the limited face to face. And I know some, no, I know some. Of course, I'm not in the authority what are these courses, but I know what are those courses that will be added into the pool of limited face to face. And PLMS is the most applicable into this one if our students have internet challenge connectivity. You can also read the article that we posted about mobile learning experiences in the Philippines education setting using the portable Moodle. So what are the limitations? Just to highlight, because it is portable, PLMS is susceptible to virus attacks. That was the result of our experiment, our study, that needs proper handling among the users. No? It is the responsibility of the owner, the user of the PLMS instance, especially that it is portable, it is transferable, and it is gadget dependent. It is designed for laptop or desktop running in Windows operating system. PLMS is totally cannot run in a mobile or in a smartphone. Okay, there is another application into that. You can download. We can even assist you, no, in our future consultation. We can assist you if you have web-based version. We can assist you how to download the mobile app version of Moodle. Limited size. The catch is there is limitation in the upload, but there is a way to solve that. Micro learning is one. We have to chop in asynchronous learning. We have to chop even our assessment. We have to slice our materials. We have to slice our text. We have to slice our ebook. We have to slice our slide presentations. No, 5 slides, 10 slides in one content or in one topic, and that's what we call micro learning. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us think and collaborate for more ways. The presentation I gave might not be applicable into your schools. Let us connect to each other. We are very much willing. We are we are we are here in the next 6 months, and we are serious into that. We are serious because later on, Ma'am Janice will give you exciting schedules, exciting schedule on how to connect us. One is to one tutorial, or if you want like your school to have a re-echo, and then you can invite our facilitators. Yes, you can do that as long as it is within the declared consultation time, no? Because we allotted 1 hour a day, 1 hour a day to assist you into your journey. We are not expecting a very full-blown implementation perhaps, but we can assist you on how you can stagger the implementation of your portable learning management system. So in the next, I think this is my last slide, the implementation plan for you. Just like any technology, my advocacy always in technology is always have plan. Do not sit down and distribute and implement your technology oriented activities and resources. Plan first, no? You plan first on how you're going to do that. This is actually your final requirement before you can download your certificate. This is your final requirement, but more to as a requirement basically is we wanted this so that we would know how to help you, because it's gonna be difficult if we will assist you but we do not know the details. But it would be easy, like if you have question teacher one, ma'am, we have this, or at least we have a file already that you are incorporating this, these are the levels, and so on and so forth. The template is downloadable. The template is downloadable in our virtual classroom. You can download that. All you have to do is to just fill in the information to the space provided, like describe the level of the integration that you plan, and so on and so forth.